I'm Jennifer Zunko, the Executive Director of TC New Tech. Thanks for tuning in today to watch the Scale Up North Emerging Business Award Finals. The Scale Up North Emerging Business Award supports Grand Traverse Region businesses in the startup phases of growth. In order to compete, these companies must have been in business less than 5 years and have at least 3 full-time employees. Over 35 businesses applied to compete in the Traverse Connect Scale Up North Awards 2020. Having made it through several rounds of elimination, the 3 finalists in the Emerging Business Awards category will now pitch to the judges. I'd like to introduce the first of the 3 pitching companies. Tim Hager is Chief Technology Officer at HealthBridge Financial. HealthBridge is a first-of-its-kind insure-tech solution that sits alongside a company's health plan.
HealthBridge is a first-of-its-kind insure-tech solution that sits right next to your health plan. When a member has a claim, we cover those costs on your behalf, and then you get a consolidated statement from us with easy repayment terms. This financial security, which a health plan alone cannot provide, allows you not to avoid care and provides a win for everybody in the ecosystem, the employee, the employer, the payer, and the provider. We are with you at the moment of the inception of the claim, where other solutions wait until you've gotten the bill, you get a million different bills from a million different providers. We consolidate that statement down, right? So you have a baby, you go to the hospital, you check out, and then you get one consolidated statement from us that says, here's all the doctors you saw, here's all your costs, and then you get to pay us off over time at a very reasonable rate. We're part of the 20 Fathoms alumni. July of 18 it was just me and 20 Fathoms, and today we've got 21 people here. We're excited about being part of the second economy here in Traverse City and bringing in well-paying jobs into the area. We believe that it's going to have a significant impact in our growth. It's going to help Traverse City continue to differentiate itself in the region and hopefully nationally.
Let's hear from Tim from HealthBridge.
Hello, my name is Tim Hager. I'm the CTO and CISO at HealthBridge. I want to spend a little bit of time today telling you a bit about HealthBridge and what we do and why we do it. So for this example, for today, I'm going to use a little analogy. So Mary works at a local manufacturer. Her hours have been drastically cut because of COVID. She's under high stress because of all that. And on top of that, she has to homeschool her kids, right? So if that was up to my wife and I don't think our kids would have made it, right? So that is a very challenging event. And like most kids, they probably play together rougher than you'd want. And so Mary sends the kids out to play on a break from the schooling. And, as usual, somebody gets hurt, right? And so the first thing that Mary worries about is, how am I going to pay for this? My hours have been cut. I'm trying to save every penny I can. But then she remembers that her employer has HealthBridge as part of her health benefit plan. And so what HealthBridge does is it helps the employee out by covering the costs of the care at the moment of care, and then they pay us off over time. So Mary now knows that she can go off to the doctor, get her son's arm fixed or whatever it is this time, and that when she checks out, she knows that we have her covered. There'll be no out of pocket, that she'll be able to then help and work with us over time to pay those bills off, taking a significant amount of pressure off for her. Now, there's never been a time that's more evident for the need for HealthBridge than now with what's going on with COVID and people needing financial stability and not only their everyday life, but also when it comes to their health and you receiving the health care they need. One of the things that we focus on is trying to give people the care they need when they need it. And so what we do is that we are a first ever solution that sits right next to the company's health plan. When a member has a claim like Mary, HealthBridge covers the cost immediately on Mary's behalf. And then we provide Mary with a consolidated statement, right? So you went in the ER, you saw this doctor, blah, blah, blah. It's a consolidated statement. And they get to pay it off over time. Most of our programs are 24 months with the first 90 days, same as cash, a very low percentage rate, 7% on anything that remains after that 90 days. So super easy. You couldn't put it on a credit card for cheaper. You couldn't get a help from anybody else cheaper than that. And this allows Mary and others who are part of HealthBridge to seek the care they need when they need it. High deductible plans don't have to cost high stress, and we are there to be their safety net and help employees and employers get the care they need and get it with confidence. So why is financial well-being important, right? So the average now out of pocket is up to $8,000. I know it's just amazing as you think about, 20 years ago when I went in, or 30 years ago when I entered the workforce, it was 100% covered, right? So now the average American is $8,000 out of pocket, and almost nearly half of America only has $400 set aside for emergencies, like having to run to the doctor to get Billy's arm fixed again, right? And so we're seeing, and some of the research that we've read and talked about, is that the 64% of employees indicated they've skipped or delayed medical care due to costs, right? So there's a huge need out there. And obviously the bigger picture of how we make healthcare affordable for everybody is a much bigger thing than one company can solve. And so that obviously is a much bigger discussion handled by other people. But what we're focused on is how do we help people get the care they need today, and to help them through these financial and trying times with COVID, and then as we all get back to work and the economy slowly ramps up, how do we make sure that people are not doing themselves a disfavor by not seeking the care when they need it, but obviously and actively, getting what they need when they need it. And then as things take off, we're all back to a good and healthy spot. So, HealthBridge is a company that started in May of 2017. The two founders are Amy Chambers and Greg Vandenbosch, both longtime healthcare and experts. I joined the team in July of 17. My experience is on high-scale e-com platforms and high-scale financial platforms. We've been growing quickly. In 2018, I moved into 20 Fathoms. It was a one-man show, and have grown the team quickly since then. We have an amazingly diverse group of people, as you can see in this picture. We've got people from all over the nation, from different countries, from just different historical backgrounds, different languages, different religions. It's a fantastic mix of people, all coming to Traverse City to make this a better place to be. In total, we've got almost 50 people across the nation. And so we're really proud of that. We're passionate about the people that we're helping, about the Marys of the world, and the positive change that we're bringing into people's lives, and being a catalyst for good and helping. So what is it that what's next for HealthBridge, right? So our plans is to have us continue to keep growing in our Michigan base, along with other places across the United States. We look to continue to grow our team here, the greater Traverse City area. And we look to be hiring at the end of the year to get back to our hiring plans, and continue to make sure that we have a very viable and vibrant second economy here in Traverse City, in the greater Traverse City area. Diversity is probably one of our most passionate core values. We hire the right people. We hire the best people, and if you happen to be whatever, we don't care. And we are really excited about the people we have working with us and how we have brought them here. And to a person, they can't believe that they've been able to work in a high-tech fintech startup and to be able to be here in this area, which is an amazing place to raise a family. It's an amazing place to live and grow, and it offers a great balance between what you're seeing in the workplace, and then what happens, what you do on the weekends and after work. We're very excited about our future. We're very excited about being here. We're thrilled and honored to be considered for this award. We've worked hard to continue to be a positive influence in the community. We donate time to a number of different causes. A number of the people on the team have taught classes at 20 Fathoms with the TC Codes group on everything from secure coding to agile development. We are working on a plan to begin teaching coding for young families with us. There's some really interesting and exciting tools out there that allows kids to get into coding from a very early age and helps them bring that passion. Overall, we see our future is bright, challenging, right? Everybody's got a significant challenge right now. We're not saying that everything's great and awesome across the board for everybody, right? but we're doing the right things to make sure that we're ready and prepared to when this thing clears, that we are ready to get back up to full speed. So that's HealthBridge.
That's great. Thank you, Tim. So can you talk to us a little bit more about the history of HealthBridge? Why was it founded? What motivated the founders to do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. There's two parts of healthcare. One is the doctor side, the insurance side, and the other side is what happens after you leave the hospital, the billing, the revenue side, right? Amy Chambers is a long-time, amazing person in the insurance side of the business. She actually wrote HSA for Dummies, and so I keep this on my desk. And so she knows the insurance side of it, right? She knows Priority Health and Spectrum and Blue Cross and all the way those big machines work, right? On the other side of the coin is everything that happens after you leave the doctor, right? The revenue side. That's where Greg Vandenbosch comes in. And he's the guy that knows and understands the plumbing and how payments work their way through the system. The two of them have been talking for years about this opportunity and was really waiting for the time to be right to actually bring it to market. The technology wasn't there yet. The people weren't motivated enough yet to come at this in a new way. This is really brand new thinking, right? We're creating a brand new area in a way in which employers and members work with us on helping people afford their healthcare on a daily basis. And so that was really driving and motivating them. So, May of 17, they were like, yep, I think the time is right. We need to get a team together to go after this opportunity. And from there, they brought in myself as number 3 to building out the concept, right? So Amy and Greg and I sat and a couple other people in a conference room for months, taking what they believe and what their thoughts and how do we turn that into requirements and technical requirements and applications and processes, and how do we make this going from a concept to reality. And so we spent about 15 months doing that. We were live in the market in February of 19. So.
You came to HealthBridge early on, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you want to join the group? What made you excited to jump in with a startup?
I'd been with Amy Chambers in a different startup and really liked her vision, her passion for leadership. Then she introduced me to Greg. I knew the two of them were going to be a powerful source together. And I did 17 years of consulting on the road, where I left every Monday from Traverse City and flew to some city and flew back every Thursday, right? And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to be part of the people that then help build those jobs in Traverse City that you don't have to get on a plane for anymore, right? So it's hard getting on the plane and missing a lot of the family events. And so I thought to myself, when I had the opportunity to join this, I said to them, we need to be co-headquartered, right? So we need to have a significant presence in Traverse City. I want the IT and the technology team to be up here. These are exactly the type of jobs that this market needs, and they'll help people like me for not having to get on the plane. I saw the same 50, 60, 70 men and women every Monday morning as they're getting on the bus, right? Everybody sat in the same seat. You had the same conversations. How was your weekend? And so that was a real motivator for me is how do we help people? Not only does I believe in the vision of HealthBridge, right? I believe in helping people afford their care when they need to afford it, when they need to have it. But I was really excited about the ability to couple that with helping Traverse City transition to having some amazing jobs like this.
Thank you, Tim, for presenting on behalf of HealthBridge Financial. Next up, we'll be hearing from Christian Smith, co-founder and president of Interactive Aerial. Interactive Aerial is a manufacturing and service company based in Traverse City, Michigan. Their team is currently focused on building robotic solutions to better address internal infrastructure inspections, especially GPS-denied confined space environments. So let's now hear from Christian with Interactive Aerial.
I'm Christian Smith, president of Interactive Aerial. So we started the company based around the aircraft, the drone that we made, doing inspections inside of oil tanks, chemical tanks, boilers, hulls of cargo ships. We have a demonstration tank here in Traverse City. It's at the Grand Traverse Commons. We use that for flight demonstrations. We bring companies in from around the world so our customers get to really see the full value of the Legacy One. And we found a big need for something to actually be lowered inside of assets. So we created the prototypes of Zenith. We had intentions of just making it for a prototype and using it once, and actually created a product out of it with how much interest and demand was there for the system. Currently, we're the only people in the world making anything like Zenith. It's got a patented coax drive system in the center of the payload unit. So it's two counter-rotating paddles that create torque, and that gives the box stable heading control, and it keeps that heading with external influences like wind and cable line twisting, things like that. So actually 3 of us founders slept on the floor of our office for 3 years, and we would hide our beds in the closet. So when Fortune 500 companies would come in to visit us and do demos, we would actually hide them back in the closet and then at night pull them back out. Our customers probably don't know that, but that was really a unique part of our story growing up here.
Hello, I'm Christian Smith with Interactive Aerial. I'm the president and one of the original co-founders of the company. Well, thank you guys all for the time today. Again, I'm Christian with Interactive Aerial. What we're going through here today is a bit about our company. So we are a robotic manufacturing company. We make different robotic pieces of equipment to solve this problem that you guys see on the screen here. So we're disrupting the way that inspections have been carried out for the last 50 years. As you can see the problem on the left, that's a traditional inspection. That's typically what people do when they have to inspect things like tanks, stacks and towers, boilers, things like that. That's the traditional setup on the top left there. We're solving that problem by putting in robotics that are built specifically for internal inspections. So we do our inspections inside of things, not outside of things. And we do them much safer and much quicker than your traditional way of doing things, which you'll see there on the top left of the screen. So we have 2 hardware products and 2 software products that we have and available for sale. The Legacy One is a LiDAR-based inspection drone, so it uses lasers to fly inside rather than GPS and compass like an outdoor drone would. We have the highest camera resolution out of any drone company that makes internal inspection aircraft in the industry. So that's our drone. That's what we got started with. We just recently shipped our first Zenith, which is a totally reimagined way of doing internal inspections. So it uses drone components, but it does not actually fly. It gets lowered in. A much simpler, much quicker and easier way to do things. Never thought I'd say that about drones, but have a number of patents in progress for the Zenith, and that's setting it apart. We're really the only people in the world that have anything like that. Our measurement software and our artificial intelligence we're doing with Westinghouse is helping people on the inside with their data to be able to assess what they're looking at and the defects that way. So one of the things that we're most proud of at our company is our existing customer list. Just for your guys' reference on the industry, companies spend about $40 billion plus per year on inspections alone. And then even more on maintenance. So companies that you see here on the screen have to inspect the assets that they have, things in the power generation space, fossil, nuclear, pulp and paper, chemical and oil refineries, cargo ships, municipal assets like a water treatment plant, things like that. So these are some of our existing customers. We have some great, really big customers on our list and some that we've already sold to. Something we're really proud of is the fact that we've doubled our sales annually each year. And we've been profitable now 2 years running, which is probably the best metric out of a startup that I can share with you guys, is that we're doubling our sales and we're doing so profitable. A couple of important things I like to highlight locally. NMC has been a huge supporter of ours since 2015. We all started the company when we were finishing up school. That's a picture of Chris on our very first test platform of our drone back in 2015. So NMC has been a big support to us, and it's a big line of students since we've begun hiring in the last year. We've actually gotten 10 UAS students jobs because of our company, which we're really excited and proud of. And I even have a meeting tomorrow with NMC's business folks to find a pipeline of sales students that can come help us at the company as well. Our local suppliers, nearly every component that we make for our systems are made here in the state of Michigan. We pride ourselves on making things locally and shipping them globally. We have a number of customers and distributors around the world, just stood one up in Australia, and then getting to work on the UK as well here shortly. So we have customers in a number of different countries like New Zealand and Canada, but we make everything here with our local suppliers. So to wrap up our PowerPoint presentation here, a scale-up judge asked while they were here in the office a little bit about our environmental impact. And I thought that was actually the strongest answer that we gave while you guys toured our facility here. Our biggest impact at our company is saving lives each and every day. Some of OSHA's biggest offenders for death and injury are confined space and falls from a height. We're replacing those very hazardous inspections with pieces of robotic equipment that can do things much quicker at a very fraction price point that they're used to spending, and doing things much safer to prevent those deaths and injuries from falls in a height. So even regulatory and standards groups are now adopting robotics as an acceptable inspection alternative. We've seen a really big shift so far, but we're doing our part to continue driving that shift further each and every day. So.
First of all, incredibly exciting how far you guys have come in just a handful of years. Can you, though, take me back to college? You touched on it slightly in your presentation, and I heard it at the showcase, the story, why you guys, or even how you got started and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, great question. So the big reason we started the company is because we had we'd been approached by Atos Group. If you guys are familiar with them, they started out of the college and got acquired by a big Houston inspection company. But they came to us with the proposal to help them solve a problem. They had issues with outdoor drones flying inside, so they asked if we could help create a solution for them, and that's where the idea of the Legacy One came into play. So we were all finishing out college when we decided to help them and realized how big of a market there really was. So that's when we decided to elaborate and make a business. We started full-time after we all finished school in 2015. We started full-time in our first office in January of 16.
And if I recall, there was a challenge from a professor to see if this was even possible. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about that, and also what were the challenges that he was trying to see if you could solve?
Yeah, so they were originally professors before they started the business. That Atos Group is a robotic inspection company. So they were having challenges with a normal off-the-shelf outdoor drone because they use GPS and compass. So they were putting those inside of tanks and boilers, and because those don't work in the GPS denied confined space area, they kept crashing them. So they needed something like a LiDAR based aircraft that didn't rely on a GPS and a compass to do the inspections effectively. And that's where we came into play. So it was kind of a challenge from a professor, but he was also working on the business there too. So it was a little bit of both.
Okay. So then how did that start off for you guys? What did it look like? And then how did you get to the point where you have this level of technology today?
Yeah, great question. So that picture I showed to Chris back at the Aero Park APL labs there, we started with very basic like balsa wood and some small carbon fiber components, and we just started with the navigation. So the LiDAR based solution for navigation and collision avoidance was what we had to start with. We showed Tony from the college and who was with Atos Group at the time, we showed him our technology that we had done from the software side, and he was like, this is exactly what we need. So if you guys can make this not look like balsa wood and duct tape, we'll actually get these things into the field. And that's when we went through all of 2016 actually manufacturing and supplying a product that people could actually buy and use without having to be embarrassed by duct tape and plywood. So.
The carbon fiber is pretty impressive.
Yep, I have a supplier down in Grand Rapids that does all of our custom carbon fiber. They actually make a lot of the U.S. and world sailboats. The Team Oracle boat, he had a lot of experience with them. He's in Grand Rapids, one of our local suppliers. So he was excited to do drone.
So you talked about some of the hiring and working with NMC. How many actual full-time employees do you guys have today? How many students are coming through and working with you?
Yep, so we've got 9 full-time right now, and pretty much everyone besides like 2 of us, I think, could trace back roots to NMC. Even our CEO took classes and actually took some of the UAS programs at the college. So all of our founders, I'm the only one actually of the 4 founders that came from flight school in North Dakota, but one of our engineering techs, both of the pilots, they're actually all were NMC, and I'm meeting tomorrow to start with some of the business folks on getting some of the sales reps that we're kind of pivoting with the virus change. We're actually going to focus on more of like an SDR, a sales development rep, or a calling force. And we're hoping to get that supply out of the college that will help some real world experience there from the business side.
Thank you, Christian, for telling us the story of Interactive Aerial. Finally, let's hear from Russell Schindler, CEO and founder of SampleServe. SampleServe is a new way to collect, manage, visualize, and gain new insights from environmental data. Their suite of web and mobile applications provides a single source to manage environmental data, decrease time and cost, and gain new insights. Let's hear from Russell from SampleServe.
We're not just a software company, we're an environmental company that turned into a software company. Whenever you're doing an environmental project, or it could be any kind of project, cannabis, drinking water, think City of Flint, they have to collect samples, and then those samples have to go to the laboratory. Well, our product, it basically takes and digitizes the sample right from the beginning. We put labels on it with both barcodes and QR codes, and over the years that software became pretty popular. I think a lot of people don't know that we actually started out like physically collecting samples. We just did a meeting this morning, and they were asking questions where I think they were surprised that we had already addressed those particular problems. It's not one genius stroke of a product. It is a culmination of lots of people's input and ideas and suggestions. I think by the end of this year we can be a 40, 50 person company right here in Traverse City. People are jumping on board using our software all over the country and even the world.
Hi, I'm Russell Schindler. I'm founder of SampleServe, also a professional geologist, and I've been doing environmental work for 33 years. Most groundwater pollution sites in the U.S. are related to the storage of gasoline and diesel fuel. Basically, it's your typical gas station. At any given time, between 10% and 25% of all gas stations have some kind of ongoing pollution problem. Other industries like manufacturing firms, chemical companies, and oil pipelines also have problems as well. The rules vary by state, but when a tank has a leak or there is a spill, the owner of the site is required by law to conduct an investigation and perform a cleanup if necessary. Again, these investigations or reports are required by law, and the way these projects are currently being performed is on a time and materials billed by the hour basis using Word, Excel, AutoCAD, or GIS products. Using these methods, reports cost between $2,000 and $4,000 each and are typically prepared 4 times a year. That's a lot of money. You would think that the environmental industry, an industry founded in science and technology, would be using the latest and greatest technologies for gathering data and preparing reports. As I've said, I've been doing this work for 33 years, and I'm here to tell you they're not. In fact, it's quite the opposite. They're still gathering data and tracking details in Excel. They're still writing down data on paper forms. They're still filling out sample bottle labels and laboratory instructions by hand. All this information is then manually entered back at the office, typically by a third person. Then they complete the reports based on the billable hour, using outdated techniques and outdated software. The SampleServe solution to this outdated methodology is a software platform that ties together all the different users with one central database. This software platform has a web-based project management tool that lets the project manager save time on scheduling and communication. Then our mobile field app allows the field technician to collect environmental data, including GPS and photos, and also prints QR-coded sample bottle labels in the field at the time of sampling. The QR-coded labels, coupled with our 2 issued patents on our digital chain of custody, allows the lab to log samples instantly, saving them time and eliminates transcription errors. Then when all lab analysis is complete, the lab pushes the data back to the platform where a multitude of graphical reports can be generated within seconds. Again, there are 4 main parts to our platform. The project management tool, where the project manager develops the work scope and then communicates that scope with the selected laboratory and the field technicians. The mobile field app is used to collect field data and other sample information. The field app also prints the unique QR coded labels in the field at the time of sampling. The QR coded labels allow the lab to quickly log in samples without any miskeys or typos using our separate mobile lab app. Then when all the field data and the lab data has been uploaded, all the required reports, all generated by the user instantly and for a fraction of the cost of their traditional report methods currently being used. The environmental engineering services market is a huge worldwide market. In 2018, it was nearly a $33 billion market. By 2025, it'll be a $44 billion market, all driven by ever-increasing environmental regulations and environmental liability. There are approximately 18,000 engineering companies collecting 135 million environmental samples every year. This translates on average into about 7.5 million reports generated every year and growing. At an average price of $270 per report, the potential revenue is over $2 billion. The basic report is just the beginning of many products that are planned and can be offered. So there's still plenty of room for us to expand our opportunity in the future. By far, the largest form of competition is the current status quo. It's the engineering companies that are still using paper documentation in AutoCAD or GIS to do the reports. There are a few competing products that have some of the features that SampleServe possesses. However, none of them offer all the required features in one platform. The SampleServe platform handles all the user's needs without having to supplement old paper techniques to fill in the gaps. Plus, ours is the only platform that prints the QR coded sample bottle labels in the field at the time of sampling. Although our platform was developed for groundwater sampling, there is a significant volume of work in other types of sampling media, such as municipal drinking water sampling, cannabis sampling, and even COVID-19 sampling. We're actually considering building an app to help with the remote sampling and remote reporting for coronavirus and the antibody testing. Thank you for the opportunity to present. If you would like additional information, I can be contacted at the email and the phone number shown here.
So Russell, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thanks.
So you talked a lot about your background in the industry and I guess the understanding and knowledge that gave you. Well, what was the ultimate catalyst that led you to eventually start SampleServe?
So when I started SampleServe, we actually started as a sampling company. So we were sampling as a service. And then we started building software just to kind of manage our own data because there is you can tell there's a ton of data associated with environmental work. So I created software and then started creating reports to kind of convey the data. And eventually, we started sharing the ability to do reports with our customers. And eventually our customers just literally asked us like, hey, your software is pretty cool. Can we use that ourselves? And initially, I actually said no, but after several people started, kept repeatedly asking, I just realized what, there's actually a potential business opportunity here to be a software company. So it was probably around, a few years ago that we finally said, what, let's be a software company. So that's how we got into it.
Was the transition from what you had been doing, sampling, to becoming a software company a large transition for you? And how did you manage that?
So, it wasn't like one moment we said, boom, we're going to be a software company. We kind of slowly eased into it. As I mentioned, we let our customers start using the software. And then it was, once we realized hey, what, we should just have a software product as well as our sampling. It took us like a year to kind of convert over so that, because we had to reconfigure so that when somebody logged in, they couldn't see other people's data. So it took us about a year. So it wasn't an overnight decision, but we're still pivoting at this point. We're still coming up with new features and even products like this COVID-19 thing. So, to say, there was one brilliant moment of transition, it's been a long process.
Yeah, listening to the customers, right?
Yep,
exactly. So what had you learned from where your software started when you were using it for yourself into when they started using it? What did you learn and how did you make pivots to make it something that they would really be excited to ultimately purchase from you or license?
So we do customer discovery meetings, even with current customers that have been using it for quite a while. We still do them every other week. And the reason is we want to get that feedback because frankly, our software is built, and like all the good features of our software are actually customer ideas. So most of these ideas that come from our customers, like, hey, could you do this? And we're like, that's actually a great idea, because if you want it, we know that other customers probably want something similar as well. So that's really kind of the biggest lesson I've learned is like listen to your customer and keep asking them, because as they use this thing and they become more and more familiar with it, they're the ones that go, hey, tweak this feature or tweak that feature, and it'll be more valuable.
Mm-hmm. So when you get a great idea, how long does it take you to continue that discovery, design it out, and ultimately implement it for your customers?
Yeah, it all depends on what that idea is, actually. So some things we can do overnight if it's pretty simple. We just had a customer discovery meeting with one of our big customers on Friday, and we'll probably have it completed by this Friday.
Oh,
and,
okay.
So sometimes it's, it's a huge thing, and, we're like, look, that's going to be a 6-month project. We also gauge whether or not it's a kind of feature or idea that a lot of people are going to want, or it's just that one customer's own preference.
Yeah.
So if it's a lot of customers that want it, we'll push it up the priority chain.
Makes sense. You talked about COVID-19 and that you're looking to potentially even help with the testing there. Can you speak a little bit more to that? But then can you also speak to how it's potentially impacted your business in general?
Yeah, so it was probably, 5-6 weeks ago now. Time's been a little distorted with this whole quarantine thing. But it was about 5-6 weeks ago. The president came on, said that they were going to set up all these remote testing locations in Walmart parking lots and Walgreens parking lots. And having, being in the data business and the sampling business, I realized like that's going to be a big monumental task, collecting data from remote locations in high volume and then being able to report that quickly. So, and that's what our software does, right? Is we collect data from remote locations and do reports and show you like geographically where the data came from and what the results are. And so I knew that we could actually handle that. And so I actually produced a couple of different videos and, basically trying to market it to even our local hospital and health departments and CDC, you name it, I've marketed to them. The problem has been they don't have tests, right? So, for instance, I had a conversation with Munson Hospital, and I'm like, hey, we got this software platform. And they're like, look, we only have 15 tests. We don't need a software platform to handle 15 data points. So, so that's really been the problem, and why it hasn't been widely adopted is that there's just a lack of testing. That is changing. There's becoming more and more companies out there with tests. And so we are getting more interest in our platform.
What a great lineup of finalists. Thanks to all the presenters and the Scale Up North judges. The judges will be selecting one winner to be crowned as the winner of the Scale Up North Emerging Business Award in 2020. Here's wishing the best of luck to those finalists. Don't forget to tune in on Friday at 11 a.m. to hear the winner announcements. You can watch live on Traverse Connect's Facebook page, Traverse Connect's YouTube, or live streamed from the Traverse Connect website. Thanks for watching. That's all. Over and out.